Your parents weren't just messing up. They were living out the 7 deadly sins, and you were caught in the middle of it all. Whether it was a sudden burst of anger or constantly needing to be right, we're breaking down how each sin made your life a little more interesting. Number 1, pride. Your dad always thought he knew best. It didn't matter if it was choosing your career or deciding the right way to grill a burger. That's pride. Because obviously, his way is the only way. Proud parents think they've got it all figured out, and now they're just trying to use their expertise on you. They've got a grand plan for your life, mapped out in detail, and apparently there's no room for negotiation. Growing up with this type of parent means you probably never felt like you had control over your own decisions. It was all about following their plan, even if it made you miserable. Resisting just led to more lectures about how they know what's best for you. How do you break out of their plan and make your own choices? How do you let them know that your life is yours? Start small. Choose something for yourself, like eating that leftover pizza for breakfast, even if dad thinks oatmeal is the only option. It's not about rebelling. It's about taking a bite of independence. Literally. Let's be real. Sometimes it's easier to just go along with whatever dad says. But if you're debating over something as silly as which cereal to eat, it's time to remind yourself, and him, that you're allowed to make your own decisions. In the end, making your own choices means being genuinely happy. And that's worth more than a perfect resume that only impresses your dad's old friends. Number 2, envy. If your mom always asked, why can't you be more like Timmy? Then you've met envy. Apparently, Timmy got a Nobel Prize for best child ever, and you got a participation ribbon just for, well, existing. Envious parents always compare you to someone else, like Timmy, who got straight A's, learned 2 languages, and played the violin. Meanwhile, you were just proud that you didn't burn the toast. Again. Living in Timmy's shadow can make you feel like you're never good enough. It's exhausting, trying to live up to someone else's unrealistic standard. How do you start feeling good about yourself when you've always been compared to someone else? Celebrate your own wins, even if they're small, like doing your own laundry. Let's be real, being able to fold a fitted sheet without losing your mind is a solid skill, and you deserve credit for that. Life isn't a never-ending competition of gold stars. Timmy can have all his trophies, but you're here to do things your way, and that's what really counts. If your parents can't see your worth without comparing you, that's their loss. You're not here to be anyone's backup version. You're here to be you. Burnt toast and all. Did your mom ever have a Timmy she couldn't stop comparing you to? You know, that kid who supposedly did everything better. Drop their name and what they did in the comments. We all had a Timmy, and it's time to call them out. Number 3, wrath. If every small mistake at home feels like it triggered World War III, then congratulations, you know wrath. Forgetting to take out the trash shouldn't feel like you've just committed a crime. Angry parents love to blow things out of proportion. One small mistake, like leaving a cup in the sink, and suddenly you're getting an hour-long lecture about respect and responsibility. Growing up like this, you either hide out to avoid the anger or start copying the rage pattern. Neither is great, especially when you're just trying to live your life. How do you break out of the anger cycle when it's all you've ever known? How do you avoid becoming a rage-filled rant machine yourself? Instead of joining the chaos, keep calm and stand your ground without escalating things. When Dad starts his rant, respond with a calm and confident line. Like, I understand you're upset, but I'm doing my best. Keeping your cool can diffuse the situation and make them realize the overreaction. Just because you forgot to take the trash out doesn't mean that you're the main villain in a crime drama. It's literally just a trash bag, not a grand conspiracy to ruin the family. Wrath might make them feel powerful, but dodging the rage and keeping your sanity is a bigger win. Plus, once you've dodged enough rants, you've got a solid collection of roast material for later. Number 4, sloth. Remember that time when your parents were supposed to help you fix your car, but they were too busy on the couch watching TV? Welcome to Sloth. You ended up trying to figure out how to change the oil with a YouTube tutorial while they napped. Slothful parents think that quality time is just being in the same room while they scroll on their phones. You had to figure out most things by yourself, from cooking noodles to fixing your bike. Sure, you learned how to fend for yourself, but it often felt like you were on your own when you needed help. It taught you independence, but also that you couldn't rely on them. How do you build a real relationship with parents who weren't really there for the important stuff? Be the one to suggest spending time together, even if it feels a bit forced. Invite them for a game night or to join you on a walk. Anything to get them up and moving. Plus, it's harder for them to say no when you're already ready to go. Just because your parents were glued to the couch doesn't mean you have to grow up feeling ignored. Sometimes it's about making them get up, even if only for an hour. Turns out, getting your parents to do something with you, even if it's just a board game, means they actually start acting like, well, parents. And maybe, just maybe, that's worth the effort. Number 5, greed. Ever felt like your parents thought buying you stuff was the same as loving you? That's greed. They got you the latest console, but you barely had a real conversation. Like, thanks for the PS5, Dad, but how about an actual, how was your day? Greedy parents think money fixes everything. Instead of real bonding, they replaced it with shopping trips and gadgets. Emotional support? Nah, here's a new device. Growing up like this makes you think love is about buying things. And one day, you realize that all the gadgets in the world can't fill that empty feeling. It's a harsh wake-up call. How do you learn what real affection looks like when love has always come with a price tag? Instead of waiting for the next gadget, suggest an experience that money can't buy, like cooking a meal together or going for a hike. It may feel awkward, but showing them that real connection matters more is a step in the right direction. Your parents might have thought buying the latest tech made them cool, but sometimes a simple hug or an "I'm proud of you" is all you really need. After all, the PS5 doesn't tell you it loves you back. Material stuff is great, but memories and genuine support last longer. Those gadgets will end up in the closet, but those moments stay forever. Number 6, gluttony. Ever had parents who just couldn't say no? You asked for something, and it was yours. No questions asked. That's gluttony. And just because you wanted a pet iguana didn't mean you actually needed one. Spoiling you wasn't just about giving you what you wanted. It was about giving you everything, all the time. Ice cream for dinner? Why not? A pet dragon? Here it is. But growing up like this taught you that getting what you want was easy. And that's not how real life works. Kids who grow up like this expect life to be a constant reward, but the real world doesn't hand out free wins. Learning that the hard way is rough. How do you get used to working for things when you grew up expecting everything on a silver platter? Set boundaries for yourself. Want something? Earn it. Even if it's just doing chores first. Learning delayed gratification is important. Spoiling you seemed like a great idea to your parents, until you realize that life doesn't just hand out trophies. Real rewards take effort, and sometimes you've got to work for it. Working for what you want teaches you to appreciate it more. And honestly, having some discipline now will save you a lot of disappointment later. Number 7, lust. Remember that time your parents were so busy with their own lives that you felt like a side character? That's lust. Not in the way you think, but in the way they were too caught up in their own relationships to notice you existed. Lustful parenting is about chasing the next thrill, whether it's a new partner or a hobby, while forgetting they have kids. It always felt like they put themselves first. It makes you feel like you're not a priority, and you end up learning that love is something you have to fight for. That's not a good lesson to take into adulthood. How do you learn what real love looks like when your parents made it seem temporary and conditional? Instead of resenting what they didn't do, try planning some quality time without distractions. Order pizza and insist on no phones at the table. Reconnecting, even if it feels weird, is important. Your parents shouldn't have made you compete for attention like it's some reality TV show. You're their kid, not an extra on a dating game where you're hoping for the final rose. Love isn't about fighting for someone's attention. It's about being there, unconditionally. It's never too late to reconnect and show them what real, distraction-free connection looks like. Alright, so we've tackled the 7 deadly sins your parents might have lived by. And let's be real, it explains a lot, right? From Dad's "I'm always right" syndrome to Mom's obsession with Timmy, it's been quite the adventure of questionable parenting techniques. But now that you know the sins, here's the real deal. What are you going to do about it? Break the cycle. Learn from their mistakes, and maybe, just maybe, you'll end up being the kind of person Timmy would envy for a change. Life's already absurd enough, so you might as well have fun with it. Thanks for watching.